All right, this is the last chapter of the review for the midterm. This is chapter 5. This is the last one. Everything is on Canvas or on the YouTube to watch back, but most everything will be on Canvas with the solutions, the work shown. But 1, 2, and 3, it says classify the triangle by its sides and by its angles. So looking at number 1, for this one, classifying it by its sides, all the sides are equal, so this is considered an equilateral triangle by its sides. Its angles, there are 2 names for this. It can either be acute or it can be equiangular, because they're all congruent. All right, looking at number 2, by its sides, this is scaling, because nothing is congruent, and by its angles, it is right. Looking at number 3, by its sides, it's isosceles, and by its angles, obtuse. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It has to do with the congruent marks. Find the value of x. Looking at number 4 for x, we have to know one triangle, the interior measure of a triangle is 180. So I'm going to add 80 and 30. I'm going to get 110. And I'm subtracting to get my leftover, which x equals 70 degrees. Number 5, because this is a right triangle, all I'm going to do is add these 2 angles. That equals 90, because 90 and 90 is 180. So I'm going to have 2x plus x equals 90. 3x equals 90. We should still get the same answer regardless on how you solved it. X is going to equal 30 degrees. Looking at number 6, I have vertical angles right here. So this is also going to be 50 degrees. And then I'm just trying to find x. So I'm only looking at one triangle, which is right here. So I'm going to add these two, 50 and 55. I'm going to get 105 and subtract from 180. I'm not sure. So looking at this, if you subtract correctly, your answer is going to be 75. So x equals 75 degrees. All right, looking at number 7, it says in the diagram, DEFG is congruent to WXFG. Find the value of x and y. So I'm just going to highlight what's congruent. DEFG right here and WXFG right here. So that means my segments are also going to be congruent. So they want me to solve for x and y. So first thing is, this is congruent to this. The side is congruent to this. So solving for x, I'm going to do 3x minus 5 equals 10. Add 5 to both sides. 3x equals 15. Divide both sides by 3. X is going to equal 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and solve for my y. Keep in mind, if that is a right angle, this is also a right angle. So plugging in my 5 for x, I'm going to have 15 times 5, because that's where my x was, plus y equals 90. Solving it, 15 times 5 is going to be 75, plus y equals 90, and I'm subtracting 75 from both sides. Y is going to equal 15. So my answer for x, my answer for y, x is 5, and y is 15. All right, 9, 10, and 11, it says in exercise 9, 10, 11, decide whether the triangles can be proven congruent by the given postulate. Remember, the only time you can draw congruency symbols when you're proving triangles to be congruent is when they are vertical or when they're sharing a side. So this is yes, side, angle, side. And looking at number 10, could it be proven by angle, side, angle? Yes, it can. Because if all my sides are congruent, that means these triangles are congruent regardless. So this is also yes, you can prove it. And like I said before, the only time you can make congruency marks is when they're vertical angles or they're sharing a side. So 1, 2, 3, side, side, side. This is also yes. right, proof question. It says write a proof. Given triangle ABC is isosceles with base AC, and then BD bisects angle B. So I have my statements, I have my reasons. First thing is going to be what's given. So triangle ABC is isosceles with base AC and BD bisects angle B. So there's two things. So if I know something is isosceles, this is going to be my second statement. If I know something is an isosceles triangle, then I know there are two segments that are going to be congruent. So I know that AB and BC are congruent. So that's going to be my second thing. AB is congruent to BC. How do I know? That is the definition of isosceles triangle. I'm going to have two segments that are congruent. Next, bisects. I see that word. So I know I'm going to have some sort of definition of angle bisector. And if BD bisects angle B, that means it cuts it in half. So now I know that there are two segments that are congruent. I can go ahead and say, or not segments, angles. Angle A, BD is congruent to angle CBD. Keep in mind I'm drawing it on my diagram so I'm able to answer the question in the end. And then 4, what do I know? I know that they're sharing a side. So I can then say BD is congruent to BD because of reflexive property of equality. And then I'm drawing those segments. Now, can I prove that my triangles are congruent? Yes, I can. Triangle A, BD is congruent to triangle CBD by side, angle, side, and I'm done. Okay, so please make sure you're remembering how to write a proof. We will do proof practice on review days. What is the third congruence needed to prove that triangle PQR is congruent to triangle STU using the indicated theorem? So if I'm looking at A, how can I prove, or what do I need to prove that this is congruent using HL? There are two answers. My first one, I could have QP could be congruent to TS, or I can have QR is congruent to TU. And then what can I use to prove angle, angle, side? Angle P has to be congruent to angle S, or angle R has to be congruent to angle U. Okay, any questions on chapter 5? Questions, comments, concerns? All right, this is the last chapter. Everything should be posted on Canvas by now. Please use this to review. Most important thing, if you have all your tests and quizzes, that's probably one of the best study guides. Just to remind you, there are 47 questions on the midterm. Out of those 47 questions, 35 are multiple choice. And then out of those 12 free response questions, 2 of them will be proofs. One fill in the blank and one completely blank proof. So make sure you guys are studying those. Again, tests and quizzes are very similar to what you're going to see on the midterm, so study that.